the next game Capcom's gonna release, I believe, is Resident Evil Code Veronica. I don't know if it's the next game they're going to release, but Resident Evil Code Veronica is the one. Now, assuming Blondie in the church isn't watching this, well, they probably are, so they're probably going to change what I'm going to say. But whatever. Does it matter? Probably not. But when I spoke to them, they were talking about remaking the games, and Resident Evil Code Veronica was something I knew very little about. I remembered my brother had told me that girl in it was pyrokinetic, which wasn't true. One of the creators was like, she's not pyrokinetic, her blood's flammable. And I was like, that's kind of like being pyrokinetic. I was like, that's even cooler. I remember pitching a crazy anime to these guys about a prison school and blood that like you could use to kill people. I'm not gonna get into that, but the when they were talking about Code Veronica, because in Code Veronica there's this, they're like twins. I think the storyboard is they're twins. The villains in it, they're blonde-haired, blue-eyed rich kids, and the sister injects herself with a virus and then goes into hibernation in a cryotube, and it leaves the brother alone, and the brother kind of goes crazy and he starts pretending to be his sister. So he misleads Claire and some other guy. The dude, I just referred to him as not Chris Redfield. She misleads Claire that he's a woman, and he impersonates his sister. And when I was talking to the guys, and they were talking about the cross-dressing and the weirdness, and how in the 90s it was cool to hate cross-dressers and trans people. It was cool to do that. And we got into this territory when I was president, and I was like, you guys are one of the greatest video game companies of all time. But if you go into Resident Evil Code Veronica with the mentality that everybody hates trans people, you are gonna lose your fan base. You guys need to, you have two options with the storyboard in Code Veronica. One, play for laughs, kind of like make it like, ha ha ha, this guy's kind of crazy. Make him demented. That's the other thing, is just show that this guy's extremely mentally ill, kind of remove the whole trans and cross-dressing thing from the storyboard. What was the third option I said was make him sympathetic. I was like, it doesn't even matter if he's a villain. I was like, just make him sympathetic. Make him the hurt one in the group. And we briefly had a conversation about narcissism, and I started talking about narcissistic submissives, which are just people who do whatever narcissist wants. Think anybody that goes to church. They just do whatever the church leader tells them because they're mindless tools that take it in the ass. And we got into talking about that. Like, Claire's weird head in the first Resident Evil remake is my fault. How she has that lip that's kind of like, she has a slight overbite and lip and that rounded face. I didn't know this, but Capcom actually had an actress they based Claire Redfield off of. I didn't know that, so I just gave her a weird face because I was president and I decided that she needed a weird face. So if you don't get mad at Capcom for Claire's weird face. Also, the ability to change the character models, that was all me. I told them to make it easy to mod the game so that people could just put in their own creepy fetish people into the game, because I just thought that would be cool. And people are nerds anyways, and they'll figure it out eventually. Yeah. I regretfully don't remember a whole lot about Code Veronica or what I instructed them to do. They told me Claire had this guy in it that was kind of like a Romeo. And I told them to read up on romance novels and try to build some type of romance between Claire Redfield and that guy. And And then they told me he mutates into a giant monster, and I was like, that's even cooler. And they're like, no, it's not. Yeah. And I was like, is he like William Burke? And I went on a fucking tirade about how it should be the G virus Burke has, and they're explaining that it's an offshoot of the virus, it's the progenitor virus or something, and they really had a lot of complex lore behind them, but I still remember when I was talking to them, I was like, yeah, but you guys don't know how vaccines work. And they explained to me that in the Resident Evil games, because they're called Biohazard in Japan, vaccine the translation was bad. It's not a it wasn't supposed to be a vaccine, it was supposed to be a cure. Yeah. The So I guess when you guys are going to be looking at Code Veronica, I remember asking them if they could give Claire a muffin top, and they were like, no. So, because I like big women and BBWs, and I'm a weirdo. Yeah. The one chick that looked like I remember expressing the one chick, because my brother had an action figure of, I guess Veronica? I don't know. I guess her name's Veronica, of the twins. And she looked to me, I thought the figure was very fascinating, and her head looked to me as if, she had, I don't know what that is. It's just weird. Anyways, she looked to me like she had a, plant on her head. Yeah, like a banana peel for hair. And her face looked like it was coming off. It looked more to me, her figure looked more to me like somebody had taken a body and left it in chemicals and it somehow survived and she walked it off. I told them pyrokinetic power sounded cooler, like my brother said she had, and they explained to me that it's blood, and it needs to be blood because they try to base things in fact and science in Resident Evil. But then we talked about them moving away from the viruses. That was a big thing because they wanted to get away from zombies. They still wanted to do apocalypse level stuff, but they wanted to get away from zombies. And we had a big talk about that. And what I came up with, which is probably what Capcom's going to have a big meeting about soon, demons. Demons. So they cure the world using the Elpis cure-all. There are no more biohazards. And then some religious cult opens up a portal to hell. Okay. And real demons start coming through the portals. So they literally start using BOW. So imagine Resident Evil, but you're working with people infected with the Goliath virus. You're working with zombies. You're working with people infected with the Nemesis. You're working with Mr. X to fight demons. That's what I came up with. Yeah. Yeah. So demons come to Earth. They start murdering people. Chris Redfield and Leon in this storyboard are way older. But they're still just the stoic kind of like, oh, we're dealing with demons now from hell, that's great. Spooky ghosts. I remember one of the storyboards is one of the dead female characters from one of the past games comes back as a ghost, and Leon ends up like talking to her. Even Chris Redfield gets to talk to a bunch of dead guys, and it's all like it's like Resident Evil Apocalypse or Doomsday. Like it is like, I guess kind of like Doom, but Resident Doom Evil. I don't know. That's where the franchise might be going, but it's not my company, and my ideas sound cool to me. And I got into the conversation explaining that this could lead into the Devil May Cry universe. Like, they could literally fucking fuse Devil May Cry and Resident Evil. And they brought up another obscure game. I don't remember what it was. I don't. It's a game that was supposed to be a Resident Evil game that turned into another game. And they basically wanted to bring that into the mainstream Resident Evil universe. And I briefly brought up Dino Crisis, and then I brought up this game that happened before Grand Theft Auto. It's a really old game where you fight aliens and giant bugs, but I also told that guy to put child porn in it because I thought that would be funny, and apparently it wasn't funny because it got the game canceled. Yeah, I was high on drugs. I was high on drugs. Because I also God of War, Ragnarok, and stuff like that. Once again, I was high on drugs because I thought the Stoic psychology was the superior psychology. Um, yeah. As for myself, I just recently realized part of the reason I can't move through fear is pressure. It's not a fear problem. It's I put way too much pressure on myself to do anything. And that pressure used to be the thing that fueled me, but one of the things Anal Eating Mummy God, for whatever reason, put into my head was him explaining the FBI used to hire guys like me a long time ago, but then they stopped hiring us because we crack under pressure. We don't do well under pressure, but we put ourselves under pressure to fuel us, and that works short term, but it's not a long term solution. It's not viable at a extended rate. So we just break down, kind of like I did down here. Yeah. And apparently, the thing about beating yourself up and attacking yourself and hating yourself is it activates the amygdala, enables you, because your brain perceives even you attacking you, you punching yourself in the face, as a threat. You are under assault, so it switches to the amygdala. So the reason why I've been hyper vigilant and analytical of people my entire life is I've beaten myself up my entire life. And as a result, I have all the traits that these people find desirable in a person. Hyper analytical, I'm really good at catching people's bullshit, I'm really good at catching on the subtleties, all that stuff. And these skills are innate to me. The issue is they come from self-hatred, and that self-hatred is a massive weight that crushes. It literally crushes me. And that's part of the reason when I think of doing something like I'm supposed to do, or being a hero, or any of those things, the pressure from just the thought of it is completely crippling to me. Because all I've ever done is beat myself up. And you guys need to think about, like, when I was down here trying to will myself to go and do this task they wanted me to do, just willpower alone. Trying to push myself through fear and anxiety and everything I was experiencing, the aluminum, this PTSD, all the thoughts, just the chaos that was inside my head. Also, the pressure and the weight of these events were the things that caused me to freeze. They were the things that legitimately stopped me. You gotta think, like, I was supposed to turn myself in for hiring Luigi, and then he died, or, like, somebody died, and then somebody else died, Akira Toriyama died. All these people just kept dying, and that added to the pressure I was already under, I guess. And that made me feel worse, which pushed me into a state of inaction. Because willpower's not a thing. It doesn't work the way people think it works. Yeah. But anyways, I guess look forward to Code Veronica. I think they said they were going to go with a kind of comedic tone to Code Veronica, and it was going to be a bit more kind of playful, kind of like how Leon is in Requiem. And I hope that works out for the game. Yeah. So I guess the next Resident Evil is either going to be demons or, like, they might take it in a different direction, because honestly, I do have bad ideas.